All right, we're off and rolling here in another week of Bears Talk Live, presented by J. Brown Realtors here from the Blowing Rock Draft House. Everick Bach here with Lenoir-Rhyne head football coach Mike Jacobs. We had some internet issues here at Blowing Rock this week, so we will be recording and then posting this a little bit later today. So, Coach, you guys dropped the game at Newberry against Newberry on Saturday, 38-24. Wingate coming up this week. You yourself 2-0 against Wingate. Lenoir-Rhyne has beaten Wingate 5 straight seasons. Let's go back for just a moment to Saturday before we put the Newberry game to bed. After you kind of had a chance to digest it and watch it, did you have any more takeaways than what we talked about after the game on Saturday?
No, I mean, it was quite a bit of what we had seen on the field, right? Like just a tale of too many missed chances, right? We couldn't get off the field on third down in the first half, which really kind of put us behind the 8 ball early in the game. And then as the game went on, we brought it to within a score going into the fourth quarter, and very uncharacteristically of us, we allowed a couple of big runs. And we went back, we evaluated, was it a schematic thing, was it missed tackles, a little bit of each, and certainly worked hard to clean those things up and clean up some of the drop balls that we had in the game, and just the things that didn't go our way that had been uncharacteristic of us throughout the course of the season. And ultimately, they all kind of reared their ugly head that Saturday, and Newberry's a really good football team, and you can't make those mistakes and expect to have a bunch of success.
Well, the reason that it was a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, once again, we keep talking about it, special teams. You force the fumble, give your offense a short field, you punch it in, able to punch it in 3 times in the second half, but that special teams, I mean, you guys now, you lead the nation in block kicks, you force another turnover there, you've taken a punt back for a touchdown, a kick back for a touchdown. I mean, it's really remarkable the ground that you guys have gained in games this year on special teams.
Sure, that hidden yardage in special teams is really a unique statistic, and when you can pin people back, or when you can swing momentum with a big play in the kick game, it's a big deal. And certainly both of those plays were critical in getting us back in the game. Certainly first the fumble on the punt return, which really was a caused fumble in the scoop, and then on the very next series we finally got a 3-and-out, and we were able to block the punt. So and again, Andre Jefferson is the one who got it. It continues just to play at a really, really high level, an all-American level in my opinion.
So overall, if you can pinpoint 1 or 2 things that need to improve the most ahead of Saturday's game against Wingate, can you find those 2 things?
Yeah, we need to tackle better, and we need to, specifically defense, we got to be better and more efficient on third down. And if we can do those 2 things again, then we'll be significantly improved.
Let's talk about the Bulldogs now. LR has beaten Wingate 5 straight seasons. You're 2-0 against them. Both of those wins for you and your staff have come down at Wingate. This is the first time you faced them at home. They have one of the best defenses in the country statistically. I mean, they're giving up 8.5 points per game. Obviously, on offense, you guys are going to have to score more than 8.5 points to beat them. How do you begin to attack that defense from a scheme point on offense?
Yeah, it starts at the line of scrimmage, and again, I say it every week, but I think their front 4 is the best that we've faced so far this year. I think both their defensive ends as well as the defensive tackles do a good job creating and being disruptive. They allow them to, when it's 3rd and long, they allow them to just rush forward. They haven't had to pressure a ton in those situations. And I think number 30 is arguably one of the best linebackers in the country. And that all those things together make them really tough. They make people work for every yard they get.
And Coach Reich, 21 seasons now. He's kind of a legend there at Wingate. He obviously will have them ready to play. On offense, they're a little different. They're spread out. They don't have like a guy like Newberry did with Dre Harris or Mario Anderson. The receiving is spread out. The running game is spread out. How do you start to prepare for them, for their offense when they come into Wright Station?
Sure. With them, the most veteran person on their offense is the quarterback, Shaw Crocker. And he's getting into that, what seems like the Grayson Willingham territory, where he feels like he's been their starting quarterback for about 8 years now. But, he's a senior guy. He's playing really good football. He's made a few more plays with his feet this year than he has in the 2 seasons I've been in the conference. And he's doing a nice job getting the ball to a variety of different receivers. And kind of like you mentioned, they're a little bit more running back by committee. They don't have a guy such as the Peoples kid they had the last few years. that's really been the workhorse, but they've been efficient. They had the big comeback win against Limestone where they scored 28 points in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Saved their season.
Saved their season at that point, and they provide a challenge. I think their punter and their specialist. We talk about the kick game. Their punter is as good as there is in the country, hands down, and he does a nice job pinning the football inside the 20. They make it work, and they really lengthen the field that way with their special teams.
We'll talk about a couple guys that have been excellent on offensive late. Another solid game for Zaire Dillard. He seemed like every time he touches the ball recently, he's getting 10, 15 yards, whether that's in the run game, receiving game. He has provided such a nice change of pace to Dewey in the backfield for you guys.
Yeah, Zai's been great, and I think the best thing he does is he makes one cut and he gets north and south downhill, and he earned our trust through being really solid in his pass protection, which is critical for us, and he's had a really nice season, and I'm super proud of him.
I want to talk about, obviously the LR Wingate game is such a huge rivalry. Lenoir-Rhyne has a few rivalries. Obviously the one with Carson Newman is huge. Newberry's big as well, Catawba. But, Wingate kind of stands above the rest as far as rivals go for Lenoir-Rhyne. You've been around rivalry games your entire playing career, coaching career. Obviously you played in the Michigan-Ohio State game. That's kind of the mother of all college football rivalries. But at the Division II level, there aren't many rivalries that are stronger than this one. Can you just describe the week ahead of a rivalry game and then the day of the game? How do you channel those emotions appropriately to be productive, but also to respect that this is the biggest game that you will play on your schedule?
Yeah, I think you have to let the kids know the history of it. Why has this been this way? I mean, certainly in the last 20 years or so, Joe Reich's done a fantastic job. Wigate's been really consistent. They've had stability at the top, and he's provided that. So they've just been this really consistent winner, and so is LR, doing it a bit different way. And when you have two good teams that are year in and year out, top 2 or 3 in the conference, it kind of naturally lends itself to a big game. I think throughout the course of the week, you have to acknowledge that it is a big game, right? There is something special and a little bit different about it. And then once it hits Saturday, though, it can't be anything other than you have to be very process driven. We have to worry about execution, which is where we lacked a little bit last week and put us behind the 8 ball again. And we can't do that this week. We need to focus on our job and not let the hoopla or the rigmarole around the game get to us.
As far as the team goes, obviously that Newberry game was kind of your mulligan. Now the margin for error for a SAC championship and a potential NCAA playoff berth is basically 0. Is that something that you're talking about, or is that something that's just understood in the locker room? Because you guys are still very much in the thick of the race in both the SAC and the region. Certainly everything in front of you, starting with a win here Saturday.
Sure, there's a ton of football left in these last 2 the regular season weeks leading into the SAC championship game, and you're exactly right. We've taken out the ability to kind of write our own history that way.
Sure.
We'll need a little bit of help now, but we have to control what we can control, and that's how good we are each day in practice leading into playing a really challenging Wingate team, and then can we execute at a super high level on Saturday? And it has to be one day at a time for us.
And I'm going to finish our talk like I do every week. Lenoir-Rhyne beats Wingate on Saturday because ...
We need to execute, right? We need to execute, and we need to execute in the areas that I always tell you. We need to be able to run the football and stop the run. We need to be able to play fanatical special teams and change the field and have some juice plays through our special teams. And then we got to play really good defense, and we got to do a better job on 3rd down.
Bears and Bulldogs meeting once again between the breaks, 1 p.m. Saturday. Jack and Juju on Flow Sports, myself and Justin Palizzi on the radio. Coach, we're looking forward to it. It's always a fun one with these two link up. Good luck to you. Thanks for your time. We'll be back on Bears Talk Live coming up next with head basketball coach Everick Sullivan. We're back on Bears Talk Live here inside Blowing Rock Draft House. The show is presented by J. Brown Realtors. Everick Bach here with Lenoir-Rhyne head men's basketball coach Everick Sullivan. Coach Sully, going back to your alma mater on Sunday. Bears will travel to Louisville for an exhibition game for the first action of the 2022-23 season. And I know that you were working behind the scenes to get this game scheduled. What does it feel like that it's finally here? You're going home and taking your boys with you.
Yeah, it's a monumental game for a couple of reasons. First, I've never been in the Yum Center. We played our games at Freedom Hall.
Yeah.
There's a lot of basketball, a lot of history and tradition at Freedom Hall under my head coach at the time, Denny Crump, Hall of Fame coach, 2 national championships in 80, 86. And he coached a lot of good players well. Ironically, when the job came open in Louisville this year, when I was a freshman, Kenny Payne was a senior.
Yeah.
And there's a video that's out, and it's got a few views.
Sure.
Kenny Payne was the player that passed me the ball that hit the buzzer beater. So I said, all right, Kenny, I had talked to her, had already kind of did a little homework, talked to her, I marked it, I said, hey, how do I get this going to let Kenny know without saying anything? We want to play.
Yeah.
That'd be a great storyline.
Sure.
It'd be the first time Coach Crump has 2 players playing against each other, that head coaches in Louisville. And I've never been to the Yum. I've never seen a game in the Yum Center. I've never, been in the Yum Center to do anything, and it would be kind of crazy. It's kind of surreal that now the first time you go into the Yum Center, I actually be coaching there, and I'll be coaching against one of my former teammates, and we both played under the same coach. So it's got a great storyline, and it's going to be an incredible experience for our guys, so we're excited about it.
It should be awesome. I mean, the Yum Center is the largest basketball-only facility in the country as far as college basketball goes. Over 22,000 could be in there on Sunday. I mean, that's going to be incredible.
Well, the shoe holes. Well, you get
2,200 maybe?
22, and you can get an incredible experience at the shoe. But the guys are going to go from that to 20,000. You talk about an experience. It's going to be something that they'll remember for a long time.
I know. I'm excited to personally experience it myself, but you have these connections to these big programs. Obviously, Rick Barnes is an alum of Lenoir-Rhyne. You guys went to Tennessee. You've been to Tennessee multiple times to play them in a similar situation. I mean, to be able to have all these connections, you obviously playing at Louisville, Rick Barnes at Tennessee, these high major, Final Four contending programs, to put yourself against them in the early season, it can only benefit you and your team.
Yeah, well, it does. It's beneficial in a couple ways. I think it's great in terms of adding resources to our program to continue to build that infrastructure and the facilities and all those things that have our guys, travel and eat at a first-class rate. So it does that. That's a great opportunity. A lot of it is built from my career coaching starting at the junior college level. Sometimes you never know. You come get a player from me, you never know when I'm going to come back and ask for a favor. So there's relationships. I think also the Lenoir-Rhyne program is respected.
Yeah.
I think they understand you're not just you're going to get challenged. You're going to get a great game in terms of how we play and the players that we have. They're respected. So it's not like you're just, because a lot of times Division II schools don't get those games because there's a lot of fear that, hey, we could beat them. So we're not getting maybe the mid-major, low majors. It's a little bit easier to get the high major teams to play here because they're a little top-heavy in terms of their talent and they're not fearful. So it is that piece. And then, we have some ties. Lenoir-Rhyne has produced a lot of players and coaches that are still out there coaching at those. Rick Barnes, our alum, he does a great job. He's an unbelievable coach, and we were able to reach out to him, and he's extended his support of our program for a number of years. And we can't say, thank you enough to Rick for doing that. But then this next one is just a relationship, and Kenny Payne did it's unbelievable for him to say, hey, I don't mind. It's my first year. It'll be the first game of the season.
Yeah.
And his
first game.
His first game, which a lot of coaches wouldn't do that.
Right.
So I said, you got to give him a lot of credit for saying, come on up, Sully, we'll play you guys.
I want to talk about this year's team for you guys, because at this point last year when we had our little preseason show, we were talking about how much you guys lost from the previous year. Yeah. Not the case this year. A lot of guys coming back, a few different ads in the transfer portal, and obviously recruiting. I mean, with so much coming back from last year's group, a group that I think was much better than the record indicated.
Yeah.
How does that change things for you in the preseason? I mean, last year you were kind of teaching your system. Now the guys know the system.
Well, we're in the office, and we went back and pulled the video up from the practice that we had on the same day last Wednesday.
Sure.
And we looked at that practice compared to the practice that we just had on the same day this year.
Yeah.
Night and day.
Right.
It's unbelievable to see how experience does matter. Mm-hmm. Chemistry, when you're putting new pieces into the equation, is very important. You're always trying to get better. You never can kind of duplicate game settings and actual games, but in terms of the practice format, I get more sleep now than I did at this time last year. So I'm excited about the guys. We got a great group of returners that have experience. They understand the system. And our system is kind of complex in terms of the reads and the options and how to play. And if you're thinking, I've always been told, your feet move slower. So when you don't have to think and process, you can actually play the game organically. And I'm seeing that come to fruition.
The SAC is such a strong league from top to bottom. Obviously, it helps everyone with the departure of Queens. I mean, they were a perennial power in this league, as now they're up at the Division I level. But as we mentioned, you guys lost a ton of close games last year, just late because you couldn't quite finish. Has that been a conversation point? Like, we were right there last year, and now if you can find those inches at the end, with Queens out, obviously Lincoln Memorial and Newberry and Tuscaloosa, all these strong programs, but you guys can measure up right there with them, I think.
I think we look back, we lost 7 games by 5 points.
Yeah.
A lot of other closer were winning that half, but I think a lot of it's personnel too. We were short guard play. Guard play wins close games.
Yeah.
Those are the players that are making the decisions, making the reads, making the free throws. Teams are normally when you're down, you're going to get pressed, so you better have guards to break that press. If you've never been in those situations, it's hard to simulate it. So I think we're going to get better by experience. We've been through it. And then the second thing, we are preparing, so we're a lot more prepared going into those situations. If a team all of a sudden throws a press at us, now we know exactly what our press maker is. We can jump right into it. But you have to pick and choose sometimes when you're with a team and you're starting off with so many new faces. You can't cover every single thing. How many different zone defenses, how many different presses there are, how many man-to-man ball screen coverages. There's a lot to cover, and that's why you see teams typically get better as the season goes, because you get a little bit more time to add to your package and add to your toolbox in terms of how you're gonna progress and get better, so nothing catches you off guard.
We'll talk more specifics about the team and the season as we get going through the season, but my last question is, what would you consider a successful showing at Louisville on Sunday for your guys from a strictly basketball perspective?
When you get a team that's going into an environment like this, you have no idea how they're going to respond.
Sure.
The one thing I told them, I want them to be able to show me and the coaching staff that we built great habits. They won't be perfect, I understand. They understand and play with a discipline and an unselfish mentality. And nobody try to go out and try to score. Let's play team basketball. And when you look at our basketball team, you're going to say that team is going to be good. I don't know how good they are today, but they have the potential to be really good. So it's really about, do they trust, have they built enough good habits to trust each other and to trust those habits no matter who the other team is or no matter what the jersey looks like that they're competing against. That's what I like to see.
Coach Sully and the Bears going up to Louisville on Sunday for a 2 p.m. tip. You can watch it on the ACC network. You can listen to it on the LR Bears radio network. Excited to make the trip up to Louisville to call that game. Coach, good luck. Enjoy the day. I mean, it's gonna be a fun one for you personally.
Well,
so
Saturday we're going to be pulling for our Bears.
Yeah.
We got big game rivalry week, so we're pulling. Congratulations to our soccer team.
Yeah.
Both teams got W's. I think our women were able to grab that championship.
They were.
Very excited about them, but we'll be following the scores in Louisville, and we'll be pulling for our Bears.
These Bears will be in Louisville on Sunday at 2 p.m. Coach, good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, E.
Back on Bears Talk Live with Kara Gavaghan after this. Final segment today on Bears Talk Live, presented by J. Brown Realtors. Everick Bach here with Kara Gavaghan from the SAC champion Lenoir-Rhyne women's soccer team. They secured the outright regular season championship last night with a 4-1 home win over Catawba. Kara scored what ended up being the game-winning goal in that one. Second time in her career she's won a game late against Catawba. And Kara, I want you to walk me through yesterday from start to finish. I mean, everyone knew it was going to be a tough game. Catawba was a really good team. They hadn't lost in the conference play. They'd only given up one goal the entire conference season. What happened yesterday? How are you guys able to do what you did against them?
Yeah, I feel like it really just started with our mentality. Not even just yesterday, but just the days leading up to it, the whole season, but just preparing and focusing on getting a little bit better every day. And I feel like that translated in our game. And we were able to come out with the win. So it was just focusing on the little things and not this like big pressure of beating Catawba, but it was more of just like each step of the day of the game.
Walk me through. your goal was with 40 seconds to go before halftime. Ellen makes the cut in the play. She centers it up for you. Can you just walk me through that play and how you progressed through it and you were obviously able to score the goal?
Yeah, so I think that it was a real team goal in that one for sure. It was just we were able to maintain possession, and then I just made the run. I knew that Ellen was going to be there, and I knew that she was going to serve a great ball. So it was honestly, she kind of gave it to me on a plate, it was just getting it in, I guess. So it was a real team goal in that, and the energy from the whole field and the bench and everywhere was felt. So.
Tell me about this team's progression, because there were some growing pains early in the season, but now you guys haven't lost since September 14th. I mean, it's been 6 weeks without a loss. You mentioned earlier, get a little bit better every single day. How have you guys been able to do that? You know, new head coach, new scheme, but a lot of the same players. How are you guys able to make this system work so well?
Yeah, I feel like it's taking it little by little and focusing on us, not focusing on outside noise or other teams or things like that. It's just focusing on us and our goals and our mentality, and it's using everyone. It's every teammate and every day. So I would say that's how we've kind of progressed and dealt with that.
Embarking on another postseason run, everyone remembers what you guys did last year in both the SAC tournament and the NCAA tournament. How do you use that? Last year you were kind of, I think, thought of as the underdogs. You know, you had a couple upsets against Catawba and Queens, but now I think that everyone knows that Lenoir-Rhyne is one of the top teams in the region, and there will be a larger target on your back. How do you channel that underdog mentality that you had last year and use that as maybe one of the favorites this year as you go into the SAC tournament? Obviously, you're the 1 seed in the SAC tournament, so I would think that you would be the favorite. But how do you find that run again, maybe in a little different form this year?
Yeah, I think we use it. This year's a whole new year, but I think we use it as confidence that we're able to do this, and this is something that is attainable, and this is something that we strive for. And although it's new personnel and a bit of a change, but I think we use it and play with confidence, knowing that we can do it and it's possible if we work hard and do the right things.
I want to talk about your journey here. You're from Wisconsin. That's not close to here in Hickory. How did you end up at Lenoir-Rhyne? What was part of your decision making? Obviously, you're a two-sport athlete here, but what was the decision-making process to come here a long way from home?
Yeah, so I would say part of it was to get away from the cold. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit chilly
Michigan
up north.
guy, amen to that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so part of that was to get away from the cold a bit. But I came on a visit to LR, and just the atmosphere. I remember every single person hugged me, and it was like such a welcoming feel that I was like, wow, like this could really be my home away from home. And so that was one of the big reasons I chose LR, and just the record of success and the team culture, the atmosphere, all of those things really played into me deciding to come to Hickory. And yeah.
You obviously run track here as well. Came here for soccer first, right? And then just decided that, hey, I'm fast. You may as well run on the track team, right? What was part of that decision-making process to pick up a second sport?
Yeah, so part of it was just why not?
Sure.
Yeah, I kind of.
You can run fast. You may as well run on the track team.
Yeah, so I decided I did a bit on my freshman year, and then sophomore year was my first complete year. And I'm not running this year, but
okay.
But it was such an experience, and I feel like it helped. It helped with my soccer as well, and the track team was so welcoming, so positive, such an amazing atmosphere. So that was, I just kind of thought, why not?
Why not? I want to go back. Last question. I want to go back to soccer. You obviously play Newberry on Saturday, but if you've played in these postseason games, in these conference tournament games, in these NCAA tournament games, what would be some advice that you would give to one of your freshman teammates that's starting her postseason journey for the first time? What are some things that you have done in these tournament games that have worked for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's easy to start looking ahead. Okay, if we win this game, then we're here, and then we're here. So I feel like a common theme is just to take it game by game, focus on the game, and just give it everything you have, and don't give up no matter if it's the start or the end, whatever the score is, because big things happen, and when we all use each other, when we all work together, and from the bench to the field to everywhere, like I feel like just focus and live in the moment too, because it goes by fast, and you gotta live it and enjoy it while you're in it. So.
Bears are enjoying the run around right now. The SAC champions, the #1 seed in the SAC tournament. They will start their postseason journey here in Hickory on Saturday when they play Newberry at 7:30 p.m. Karen, congrats on a great season so far, and looking forward to watching a long postseason run.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week right here on Bears Talk Live.